Hello, my name's David Dungay and welcome to UC Today. It's that time of year again when we look into 2023 and ask our experts what their big predictions are for the coming year. Here is what they had to say.
Hi, John Arnold here. Three that I'll cite here. First will be the ongoing consolidation in the space. I think we will see fewer providers in this space during 2023, and I think one or possibly more well-known names will no longer be in the space, and other smaller ones will continue as well. This is a business of scale, and I just think that there's too much competition, too many players, and we're going to see fewer players going forward. Second prediction for 2023 would be more mobility. I think we're going to see more integrations of UCaaS with mobile devices. WebEx Go is a very good example of trying to make that happen, and we shall see, but I think there'll be more of that happening. More work is being done in mobile settings, and I think there's a greater need and use case for UC on mobile devices. And third would be the idea about hybrid work. How do you make it better for everybody? And I think that's going to be a big focus as UC platforms evolve to be more about productivity and workflows than they are about simply providing communications to enable people to work either one-on-one or in groups just to share video and text, et cetera, more about the productivity. There's some surveillance issues to come with that, but I think the solutions will become more focused on that and to help businesses keep employees productive across home and office-based settings. Okay, that's it for me. That's my short take, and we'll be seeing you soon. Thanks.
Hi, this is Andy from 8x8, and here's some of our predictions for 2023. 2023 will be a year of pragmatic decisions and action. While there will still be IT spend on digital transformation projects, big bet budgets will be under a lot more scrutiny. We expect to see renewed focus on how new tools can integrate with existing solution elements, in particular Microsoft Teams and Google Chrome. CTOs and CIOs are becoming the predominant contact center vendor decision makers. The turmoil of the past few years has brought the contact center to the forefront of the leadership agenda. C-suite leaders, even ones who previously had little understanding of the customer support organization, now finally understand that the contact center is an anchor for customer loyalty and revenue. A recent Metrigy Customer Experience Transformation 2022-2023 global research study validates this. According to the report, CIO, CTO, or technology leaders are the decision makers on contact center vendor selection nearly 60% of the time. Chief Customer Officer and customer experience leaders are now involved only around 35% of the time.
Hi, my name is Emeric Sénéchal. I'm in charge of the cloud business development for Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise. I will describe today my UC&C prediction for 2023. The UC market is still growing at an astonishing pace since the pandemic started. But from a nice-to-have scenario, it's now a crucial communication pillar of every organization. One of the key components is the easiness, removing complexity from the equation to provide users with simple-to-install and simple-to-use platform, giving also enterprise the flexibility to go up or to downscale. I also predict that any successful UC&C solution will need to be accessible from anywhere, any device. These services need to be available at all times, which require a stable infrastructure with contingency plan in case of outages. Time when there is no access in the internet is also to be addressed. An hybrid environment, leveraging prior investment in on-premise telephony, could bridge this gap. But companies want to make sure that data is being handled with utmost care. Many organizations will be looking to find alternatives to US-based companies such as Microsoft, primarily to ensure that data isn't subject to the Cloud Act. This also extends to geopolitical issues, such as the Google Huawei fallout 2 years ago, or even the Facebook situation in Australia last year. This is just to name few examples, but what they want to avoid is any potential impact on users.
Hi, it's prediction time. This is Blair Pleasant of Confusion and BC Strategies. So for 2023, I expect we're going to be hearing some rumblings about the metaverse, but I don't think we'll be seeing more than a small handful of vendor offerings and trials. Some people or organizations may try out things like using avatars, but I don't think we're going to see many real business uses of what people are calling the metaverse. Instead, we're going to hear about roadmap and direction, but not much more. What we will see is increasing uses of AI, of course. A lot of the vendors have done a great job of introducing AI capabilities to improve the meeting experience. But actual deployments beyond virtual backgrounds and noise cancellation have been limited. So I think 2023 is going to be the year when we see the use of AI tools for meetings, using virtual agents to automatically assign tasks based on what was mentioned in the meeting and things like that. And I would love to see an AI-based scheduling tool that looks at my calendar and sets up meetings for me with the right time zone. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that one yet. And as always, we're going to see more mergers and acquisitions. And I expect to see vendors with AI-based niche applications getting acquired by different UC and collaboration vendors in order to enhance their offerings. There's going to be a big race to add more and more AI and automation, and any AI technology providers with a decent technology is going to be looked at and potentially gobbled up.
I'm Dan Root with Wainhouse Research, a Futurum Group company based here in North America, and here are some of my predictions for 2023. First up is that we're going to see enterprise and commercial grade real estate drop as far as an occupancy percentage is concerned, not just here in the United States, but around the globe, as companies are signing new deals to downsize their offices and outfit them with hybrid-enabled technologies. What that means is things like wireless casting and conferencing systems are really focused on that conferencing side of things, which will enable you to leverage the video, camera, speakers, display within a room off of your laptop and bring your own meeting to their space versus having a dedicated room system. We are still seeing growth across dedicated room systems as well, and we don't necessarily believe that that will end, but there will be a duality to allow you to bring your own versus using the in-room systems. Beyond that, we're seeing visual collaboration focus itself as far as the players are aligning to the verticals that they're finding success and traction in, and adding feature sets that specifically address that day-to-day workflow within those verticals. This is going to continue into 2023 as the generalist digital whiteboards really become a part and parcel for your unified communications platform, and things that you need to do beyond that as far as plugging that visualization into your overall workflow starts to branch off into the verticals that are most closely aligned. To round out my predictions for 2023, I imagine that, many of the sectors are going to contract next year because of the kind of global recession and some of the supply chain constraints that we're still seeing. It is my belief that we are going to see a growth among some of the hybrid-enabled technology segments, reason being that we are in a long-term hybrid working environment at this point, and companies have really put the time and effort over 2022 to research and decide how do we work best when we come to the office, and what are the outcomes we're hoping people are attaining, I should say, when they do come to the office. Beyond this, if you're looking for more data or research around any of these predictions, please feel free to check out wainhouse.com or thefuturumgroup.com. Thank you.
Greetings, everybody. David Danto here. Predictions for 2023? Well, I think first, the return to the office concept is, I was going to say fizzle out, but that's a little strong. It's going to morph. The idea that we were mandating everybody go back to these offices that we had before the pandemic just really isn't going to fly. And we talked about earning the commute. I like the concept of this idea of mandate or magnet, that I think more organizations are going to try and rebuild their offices and redesign the layouts and the technology so that people want to come back and collaborate with peers as opposed to being forced to come back. And I think that's going to be a big change. I think camera arrays are going to be standard much more than the center of table garbage things that have been announced recently, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cameras in a room all communicating with each other, just like the microphone arrays do. Everybody figuring out which one is the best shot, no user intervention, no mechanical pan tilt zoom required. It all just kind of works and makes the best shot for everybody in a conference room. And I think 2023 is going to see the introduction of some of those. I think you're going to see the standardization of work from home setups led by the enterprise. It's no longer going to be what camera you want, what headset you want, and people grabbing. I think we're going to start to see standardized setups and some special communication from enterprises so that people really understand what the right thing to do is. And finally, I think you're going to start to see, environmental social governance become something that's a recruiting standard. Young people entering the workforce, old people like me in the workforce looking for organizations that are sustainable and supporting diversity. I think it's going to be a lot more than pinkwashing had been going forward. I think we're really going to pay more attention to it and be interested in it, especially with all the things going on in the world with climate change and everything else. And I think it's going to be a real differentiator for employees. So those are my 4 big predictions for 2023. I wish you and yours a very happy holiday season, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hi, I'm Melissa Swartz with Swartz Consulting, and I'm here with my 5 predictions for the trends in the communication technology industry in 2023. Number 1, I think that worsening economic climate and rising interest rates will test the financial stability of many companies. And although we're already seeing a lot of consolidation in the industry, I think it will accelerate in 2023 as the weaker companies are weeded out. Number 2, again, due to economic challenges, I think that there will be a focus by end user organizations on optimization and expense audits in 2023. I think that they will be evaluating the cost of their subscription services and looking for savings through the audits. And along the same lines, those who are already on a journey of digital transformation will continue that with an eye towards cutting expenses and using the technology to increase productivity. Number 3, I think at this point that the needs for most office workers are being met by technology today. So I expect that the next area of expansion is already started, but I think it will accelerate in 2023 to meet the needs of frontline workers. And I expect there to be an expansion in the number of solutions available for vertical industries such as healthcare and retail. Number 4, I think smart organizations will expand their use of artificial intelligence and analytics in 2023 in order to gain insights into their business and to look at not only customer but also employee behavior. And finally, number 5, I think in 2023 we will finally figure out hybrid work. And I think it will vary greatly from company to company. I don't think there's going to be just one solution. I think everybody's got to work it out and figure out what works exactly for their organization.
Hi, I'm Z.S. Caraval from ZK Research, and my 2023 prediction is that this will be the year that we see platforms rise in communications. Now, you see, platforms are important as every large software and SaaS vendor, think back to companies like Salesforce, Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, those ones have gotten big, and I mean billions of dollars big by becoming a platform vendor. It's very hard for a software SaaS company to be able to grow themselves without doing that because it creates an ecosystem effect of other companies that build on top of you. Now, platform is a very commonly used word in UCaaS and CCaaS today, and I would argue that most of the vendors today use the term platform as a way of describing their ability to build more products on their solution. But to me, that's not really a platform. That's just building more products and selling them as a bundle. A platform allows others to build on your platform, thereby creating more economic value for everyone. So if you think back to Windows, iOS, Oracle, Salesforce, the third-party ecosystems around these companies is massive. And it creates a very sticky effect where once you deploy or you create a couple of apps that ride on that platform, you can't ever remove it. It also creates a very low cost pull-through effect from a sales perspective for the vendor, because what happens is you wind up having your ecosystem sell your platform for you. Lastly, I think it creates a lot of niche use cases. Think of all the one-time throwaway apps for iOS, or all the applications that were written on Windows. It's impossible to expect the vendor to be able to create every possible use case for their product, but an ecosystem can do this. It's vertical use cases, mobile apps, specialty use cases. These things are ideally suited for the platform. So things to watch for in 2023. What is the provider doing to enable these platform capabilities? You need a combination of APIs, SDK, low code, no code, and most of the UCaaS and some of the CCaaS providers have put these in place today. They haven't really monetized it to the capability they have. In fact, most of the vendors really have no way of monetizing their ecosystem. They also need support for all different kinds of ecosystem providers. That would be SIs, corporate developers, ISVs, even the two guys in a garage type of vendor that does create those specialty use cases for, small law firms or dentist offices and things, companies that may want to use the communications platform, but they need a very custom way of doing so. I think also it's important to watch how big the ecosystem has grown. When one of the vendors tells me that they have 50 or 100 or even 500 software partners, I say back to them, whoop-de-doo. When you get to 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, now that becomes interesting because that's a real ecosystem. So if you go to the vendor shows and they have their expo halls and you walk around and you see device manufacturers and management tools and security vendors, they're really just augmenting the vendor's product or maybe filling holes with things that the vendor doesn't have. But you want to see is companies that are building value on top of that platform. And so I do think most of the vendors are well aware of this and they're working on these platform plans. And I believe what happens in 2023 will determine what the long-term competitive landscape looks like. So look out next year. That will be the year that we see platforms become real.
I'm Adam Wilson. I'm from Vonage. I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships, and my prediction for next year, 2023, is that the convergence of unified communications as a service and contact center as a service will continue. But now, in addition to that, we are seeing demand for integrations with more business applications such as CRM platforms, so customer relationship management platforms. That's my prediction.
And so obviously hybrid working is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. What we are seeing, and I think this is going to continue from this year, is just around businesses committing to the applications that they're currently working with. We're seeing a big drive where people have maybe gone down a Microsoft Teams route for their application to do collaborative messaging, call in, video and stuff. But what we're seeing is actually a more strategic route, and actually maybe that tool wasn't right for them. They just jumped to the right tools. We're still seeing a lot of people that are using mobile and they're just doing call forwarding. And so I think what's quite pivotal for next year is I think people are still going to be looking at the technology choices, moving away from the quick fixes, from the pandemic side of things. And I think also out of the box solutions, people are looking away from that, and people want actually a custom fit. They want a bespoke solution.
Yeah, I mean, we're a SIP service provider as well as a UCaaS application provider. Our biggest growth market on SIP is SIP Teams direct routing. But the analysis we've seen is that it tends to be for the larger organisations. Normally we're putting, and we don't do it per user, we do it per SIP trunk, and we're seeing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 200, 300 SIP trunks going in. We're not seeing that actually scale down. I think we're going to start seeing that scale down now, where you're going to get the organisation with sub 100 users. They're going to start using Microsoft Teams as an application. It's a giant you can't ignore. So I'll send the prediction I sort of see is that the Microsoft Teams direct routing is going to start coming below the sub 100 user marketplace.